Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah, I'm off my game once every 4 years. You're allowed, you know?
Good.
Yep.
All right, sorry for the next slide. No, you're fine. There we go. So our mission is to serve our families and communities. Our goal is to put people first, have integrity and accountability, and provide a great inspection experience. Slide in there. A little bit about why you might choose us as an inspector, knowledge and expertise. So our company has been in business since 2007 as a home inspection business. The owner launched it as a solo venture, and then 2012 we started to grow it. So now we have 11 licensed inspectors on staff, and we service I think it's up to 18 or 19 counties. So we also have Cleveland and Akron as a satellite. But people is definitely a big part of our business. Home inspections are not necessarily all that difficult, or some things are technical, but it's really, we look for people skills before anything else. So a lot of those other things I can teach people, but having soft skills and being able to communicate is not something that's easy to instill in someone who doesn't have it. So,
Sure.
so we offer, all the things that you would expect any home inspector to provide you. Same day reports, gentle and kind with your buyers, and walking them through and helping them understand what different things mean and what the potential outcomes are. So,
Swearing them go down.
yeah, so we do offer with inspections. There we go. There it comes. Additional services. Lots of folks are, seems like the home inspection is, kind of, it's almost rare, where people are just getting the basic home inspection. They want a radon test or a wood destroying insect inspection, mold testing. Sewer camera inspections have gotten more popular with older homes because of the potential for things there. So we offer also in rural properties with well water testing and septic inspections. We utilize Benchmark Labs here locally to handle those for us. They do a great job. So we do have 2 inspectors that are certified in pool inspections. If you get into rural areas with manufactured homes, a lot of times the lender wants a verification of, is it structurally tied down, make sure it's not going anywhere. We can do those as well.
Chris, on a termite inspection, so obviously like in the course of doing a regular inspection, like a lot of termite damage or
Yes.
it's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
So is a termite inspection, how's that a separate thing?
So generally, I always tell folks, and most of our inspectors do the same, is, we're gonna be looking for signs and symptoms, and potentially all the areas that we would look for a termite inspection, we're gonna be looking at during the home inspection. And that's really what we didn't used to do termite inspections in-house. We used to farm them out to Benchmark Labs or, a couple other companies around town, because we didn't want to mess with it. We didn't have the licensing. We didn't want the liability. And what we found is that through our course of our home inspection, we were often doing a better job at finding things like that than they were. So it was like, okay, if we're not delivering the level of service that we want to deliver, so why are we paying them to do it? So that's what brought it in-house. So typically what we'll tell folks is, we're going to be doing it anyway. If it comes down to it and we find something and we really need to get that state documented form, in play for negotiations or what have you.
Okay.
Or
for like a VA buyer.
Yeah.
Where they have to have the actual report.
They have to have it, yeah. So the nice thing with VAs is we do those now for free. So we about a month before they said, hey, the seller doesn't have to pay for VA termite inspection anymore, the buyer can pay for it. We were like, hey, this is a pain in the butt. We're tired of trying to get money from sellers to pay for these. Let's just do it for free. That way we don't have to worry about it. And, something that's a little bit of a thank you, to someone who's getting a VA loan. Hey, we're just gonna take care of this, and that way, because it was just a headache. And then about 30 days later, they were like, oh, but sellers don't have to pay for that anymore. So, but whatever.
Chris, I have a question for you.
Fire away.
Structural inspections.
Yes.
Do you have an structural engineer
We
on
do
staff, or?
We do not. We have 3 guys who are, have some structural certifications, but they're not engineers,
Okay.
so to speak. So they've got some training, they've got some additional know-how. on that side of things, so, the only thing that we do employ an engineer for is when I talked about the manufactured housing stuff. We have a gentleman who, he's actually in Michigan, but he's approved in like 13 states to
Okay,
do manufactured homes. So we collect all the data and take all the photos and send it to him. And then he gives the engineer a stamp on it.
okay.
So,
Okay.
How about,
Yeah.
gutter, inspections?
Downspout?
Downspouts out to the curb?
we can do them with a sewer camera.
Is that where,
Uh,
okay?
Sometimes it's difficult. That's the only thing. There's a little caveat there. It's not always the easiest thing to do.
Right.
Yeah, if there's access like from the downspout, drain or something where it's open and we can go down through it. A lot of times we can do that. Or if it goes out like to a curb, we can actually start at the curb and work our way back.
Oh, yeah,
And
okay.
that works out pretty well. So, but it can be challenging. So,
How
sewer
much-
scopes in general are challenging. You're taking a $5,000 camera and sticking it down a water pipe that gets, all kinds of stuff going through it. And so
Oop, shoot.
it's, yeah,
It's going down.
exactly. Yeah, it's going down the
Oh, but it
crapper. So, but we also do commercial building inspections. We can handle anything up to 4 stories and below. So multifamily, you name it, we've done it.
He was excited about the, what's more.
Yeah. Tell me. All right, you can go on to that. So a couple things that we do, one thing, home inspectors, I don't wanna say we're a dime a dozen, but obviously there's licensing now, so there's a little bit, in a lot of folks' mind, there's a little bit less that sets you apart. Whether you've got a license and they've got a license, when you talk about what can you do in an inspection, and we're all gonna sound the same, oh, well, I'm great with your buyers, I can deliver a quick report, I have great photos and all that good stuff, we're all gonna sound the same. So our goal is to really be a good business partner for you. So a couple things we've added here in the last year, Repair Pricer is a third-party product. Just a quick rundown for it, it comes to you. It doesn't go to your client. So if you're registered as a buyer's agent with us on that email is gonna come to you. The initial email is a preview, and essentially it is generated by AI versus data. And so it could be a big number. It could be, there's a range of $3,000 to $15,000. But if you want to drill down and get any kind of estimates from it, you can click the link from the email, it takes you right to their dashboard, and you can say, hey, give me the full report. I want everything. You can say, hey, I want these 2 or 3 things. This is our big concerns. Give me estimates on these 2 or 3 things. So you can drill it down as broad or as narrow as you would like to have, and it'll give you price estimates. The repair estimates are based on data that they collect by zip code. So they're getting pricing every day on materials, labor, things like that nature by sending out surveys to contractors.
In your,
So,
comparison
Yes,
in your
so the
market.
pricing should be pretty close to our market. Now, what I will say is pricing is really licensed contractors, right? It's not I know a guy price, or I have a guy price. So
Yeah.
you might see, a water heater, for example, and it might be 2,500 or 2,800 bucks. Your local guy that personally is gonna probably do it for 1,500.
Yeah.
Right, so it might be a little bit inflated, but there's a good chance, and what I have found a lot of times when our clients go to call someone to do something after after ownership, is they get some sticker shock. So they call whomever because they don't know a guy. So they call Atlas Butler, they call, the Rooter Works or something like that, and then all of a sudden that $500 fix that they were ready for is now
Yeah,
2,000. They're like,
yeah.
well, I didn't think it was gonna be that expensive, So it's out there, and that's something I think we just have to recognize, because I hear it all the time, so.
Yep.
They do a 24-hour turnaround on whatever you decide. If you want, that preview report's gonna come to you pretty quickly after the inspection report's delivered. Usually about an hour or less. But if you decide you want to drill down and get some more information, it's 24 hours. But that's because the human's actually reviewing it, looking at our photos from the inspection report and going, okay, what do they need here? Type of thing. So, but it's super helpful. It's free. There's no cost to it. So it's included with every inspection. It's a tool for you if you want to use it. If you don't want to use it, that's okay too. Nothing wrong with
Chris, I think you helped me last year.
Okay.
When I was representing the seller
Uh-huh,
and we had the buyer used you guys to come out.
okay,
So got that information. It was very helpful
Oh,
for my
good.
seller's side
yeah,
because it now quantifies what price point on the other side as they started to request stuff.
things, yeah,
We had something, if you don't know all of the pricing and so forth, it gives you at least a starting point.
Yeah.
To go from there.
and
So
then,
do you allow, so in those cases, would you, let's say I have another listing and that on the flip side, the buyer decides to use you guys.
yeah,
Is that a service that we can purchase as the seller's agent?
yes, yeah.
Okay.
And if it's something you want, you get Sam's info or my info, just call or email us and we'll get it for you.
Okay.
Yeah, so definitely wouldn't be a problem at all. So, okay, next up, the next thing I want to hit on is Home Binder Assist. So Home Binder, if you're not, I guess familiar with Home Binder at all?
No.
It's basically like it's an app, it's a web-based app for your homeowner, for your buyer, for your client. And essentially what it is a place where they can, I know a lot of you guys are newer to real estate, but if you ever went and saw a home and the owner had a 3-ring binder on the counter with all the manuals and receipts and all that, so this is basically a digital version of that. It's a place where they can upload repair bills, they can upload manuals, they can, you don't have to scan those, you can just download them online.
The key is using it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can record things like, room measurements, paint colors,
Huh.
flooring selections, things like that. It's just kind of a database for your home. So it's a place where you keep track of things and that sort of thing. We also have the ability in there to have some preferred vendors. So if somebody's looking for a resource for something,
Mm,
we can put our preferred vendors in there. So the cool thing is you get a profile as an agent. You can also put your preferred people in there. So if you have folks that you want your buyers to be exposed to, for related resources, you can put their contact info in there and they'll see that. This is kind of like another CRM for you that you don't have to touch. So keep your profile up to date, contact information. This is going to send out 6 emails a year to your buyers after they close with maintenance reminders and tips. So it's going to send out 6 emails and all those emails will be branded with you as
Okay.
reminding them who helped them buy the home and all that good stuff. So it's,
just another
beneficial.
touch. It's good.
yeah, it's just another touch, exactly. So it'll be things like, furnace filter reminders and maintenance, gutter cleaning, that kind of stuff. So there's currently 6 emails a year. That's what they recommend, so we kind of have kept it at that. You don't want people to get too many emails because then they'll start ignoring them, so if at all likely, but, just a nice way to throw in another touch. You can, like I said, you can load your own, vendor partners in there if you want to have exposure to that. So it's just a nice little tool. They also have a concierge service if somebody needs help like switching utilities or things like that. They'll typically about 2 weeks after the inspection, they're gonna lob a text message or a quick call and see if they need help with anything. And they'll ask them if they have any questions or feedback about the inspection and the report, that sort of thing. And they can, at that point, they can say, yeah, can you help me with this or that, or no, thanks. So it's not a sales push, it's not a sales call. They're not gonna keep calling over and over again, type of thing. So no information is really being sold. So it's just from the home binder. And when they get their home binder, they'll automatically have their home inspection report loaded in there already.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so. The next one, closing gifts. So these are something we started doing, oh gosh, probably like 2010. We started out with doing coffee mugs. And you guys have probably seen coffee mugs around the office with somebody's house on it and maybe, realtor's name and face and logo. So we started doing those. We have evolved that over the years to add different items. So we do coffee mugs, wine bottles, a slate that's, what is it, about 8x8
Yeah.
slate. And it has we can actually print a picture of the home on it. And it's essentially a gift that we create. The gift is for your client, but we create it and it comes from you. So we either bring it to you, you pick it up from us, one of those things, but you can kind of put together a nice little package with whatever else you want to throw in there. So the idea is, just to give you something else that you don't have to worry about. So, and it has your branding on it, so obviously that's something you wanna, somebody puts that photo slate up on their mantle or, coffee mugs or whatever, they stick around for a while, so. That's really about it, so any questions? Comments, gripes, concerns?
New home build, new home build.
New home construction, yeah.
Do you do inspections for those?
We do.
And what kind of pricing is it? Because there's different stages within
There
the
are,
new
yeah.
home that
So-
you would want you guys to come out. Is it one price for that or is it every?
It can be, yeah, so we offer 4 phases for
Okay.
new construction, so we start with like, once the foundation's been poured or built.
Mhm.
We can do an inspection at that point just to make sure that all the workmanship's good, that the measurements are proper, things are square and plumb the way they're supposed to be. And that starts, I think, right around 250 for that one,
Okay.
just for that alone. And then we go to pre-drywall, which is essentially once the house is framed, typically it's gonna be under roof by then.
Mhm.
All the framing's done, all the rough ends are done, so the electric, piping and plumbing and wiring, all that stuff is gonna be in place, but there's no drywall yet. No drywall, no insulation. So we come in and take a look at everything they've completed up to that point,
Okay.
check for defects and potential, issues there. And then from there, a final right before closing, almost like a pre-purchase inspection type of thing. It's very, very similar. And then the 4th one is 11-month warranty. So when they get to about
Oh,
10
nice.
months, 10 or 11, right before that bumper to bumper, we'll cover anything and everything warranty expires. We come in, do a full inspection. A lot of that also is a conversation with the homeowners or anything you've noticed, anything's not working right, anything,
Mhm.
type of things, and let's try to document that, and then they have something to go back to the builder and work with.
Okay.
On that, so we offer a full package, I think they have to do 3 for the
Okay.
package, and I think it's about 10% discounted
Okay.
for the full, so generally that pre-drywall and or foundation are about 225 to 275 each. And then your full inspection is the same as a standard home inspection, and the 11-month warranty is as well.
Okay.
So, but it's usually, I would say, on a, say a 2,000 square foot home, it's probably right around $900 to $1,000.
Mhm.
And like I said, then we throw in, 10% off if they want to schedule and book all of them
Right.
at once. So,
So Marcia, Sam, so these guys haven't actually been through the home inspection process yet. So
okay.
you guys have any questions about the process in general or anything?
Not currently. I mean, I feel that that's gonna be a situation that I'll know the questions when I'm actually going
Maybe
to.
that's it.
Yeah.
What questions?
I don't know what to ask at this moment, but I know who to ask. Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
Biggest thing, if I can give you a couple little tips when you get to that point,
Uh-huh.
set some expectations, just make sure they know, like, our job is to come in and find things wrong.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, don't let them get waylaid when they think, oh, everything's gonna be perfect.
Right.
Okay.
They're expecting the perfect
Right.
house.
Yeah, those are,
right.
Even new
So-
builds, right?
Yeah,
Well,
And at the end of the day, it's information,
yes,
Right.
absolutely, there's no pass.
It's neither good nor bad, it's just, this is information that as the prospective home buyer, you need to be aware of.
Mhm.
Yeah,
We'll take the information and
Do
address
what
it
you
as
want
we
with
need
it,
to.
yeah.
yes, precisely, yeah.
And if it's structural, run.
Yeah.
Not all of it.
Well, there's a price for everything.
Exactly, I was gonna say, the second thing to keep in mind would be anything can be fixed.
Yeah.
So it really comes down to what
How
someone's
much you want.
appetite is for
Yeah.
certain situations and things.
Yeah.
But, there's a lot of, there are not too many situations you can't prepare,
Okay,
or correct.
okay.
Do you guys like the home buyer to be there
Oh, that's a good question.
when you start the inspection? Or do you prefer that they come maybe halfway through?
We
or-
don't discourage them if they want to come for the entire thing. Now, what we've gone to is we typically tell them if they say, well, what time should we come? We give them about an hour. So, hey, about an hour, yeah, so if it's an 8:30 in the morning inspection, we'll tell them, hey, come around 9:30. That gives the inspector time to kind of move through the house, not really have too many interruptions, so it's a little bit of a dance. I know some inspectors will say, don't come till 11,
They don't want it until the
Yeah,
end of
they don't want
the
it until
thing.
the very end, but
But it's
We-
very beneficial for the home buyer to go
And-
through the whole process and they, you know.
And then
the inspectors
everything's
talk to
off,
them
but-
and tell them.
Yeah,
And
and
they
we
can-
have a process that we've taught our inspectors on how to move about the house, things that they need to say to the client as they're moving through the house and inspecting things. So our inspection process is a little bit interactive and educational.
Good.
So we like them to be there as
That's-
much as
yes,
possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chris, same question, but instead of buyers, agents.
Don't mind it all. Well, I'll. Yeah.
Depends on the
Different,
agent.
it really does. I personally, in my experience, 98% of the time when an agent is there, they're normally, they want to know so that they're better equipped for negotiations or whatever's coming next. They're there to support their client and, help them feel more comfortable, answer questions, that they might not necessarily want to throw at the inspector or what have you. Because there are questions that the buyer will ask us and we will just simply say, that's really not our place. That's a better question for your realtor, because
Sure.
they'll say, what should I ask for? How
Yeah,
much should
right,
I ask for?
right.
Should I buy this house? You know, the things we don't want to answer.
Yeah.
So, but we do occasionally get some bad eggs, and you'll get realtors that show up and they just want to downplay anything and everything that you have to say. And if you want to know why agents or brokers are telling you not to go to inspections, it's because those folks have probably gotten themselves in trouble by running their mouth too much. And, somebody thought, oh, my agent said this isn't a big deal, even though the inspector found it.
Yeah,
And it turns out it was a big deal. It was
Yeah.
a 10 or a 15 or a $20,000 thing.
yeah.
And they said, don't worry about it. So that's my only thing. So a lot of times those agents also tend to be less knowledgeable.
Yeah.
So
Most notably.
I always try to bite my tongue and have as much patience as possible, but sometimes sometimes that can be a challenge, so.
Just curious, in your experience, what percentage of inspections have an agent present?
Present, I would say 50 or less.
Okay.
Yeah.
I always encourage agents to at least be there for like the last 30 minutes. They can get kind of the summary and,
Yeah.
if they're gonna have to write a request to remedy, it's better for the inspector to show them, hey, here's what the issue is, instead of just seeing it in a thumbnail or in a report. So,
And a lot of times the inspector can tell, is it major or minor?
Yes.
They
Yeah.
can guide along
Yeah.
that space
I mean, the reports are great, but I think it's
Yeah.
always better to see it in
in person.
Yeah.
Like the photos in a listing, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes too, with just the way the world works, we have insurance companies that cover us professionally, and so they have certain things they want us to say, in certain situations, so sometimes it may seem a little worse than it is, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So
Fair, yeah.
it's, sometimes, the written report is helpful, but sometimes that one-on-one communication is also super paramount too.
But when you pair it up with the cost of it,
Yeah.
that helps
Put everything.
put into perspective on
Yeah.
why that
Mm-hmm.
was not as bad or it could
Right.
be worse.
Exactly. So and one last thing I'll hit on, we just switched our report writing software here in the last month or so. Our new report actually gives you the ability to build a request list right off of our report. So there's a button at the top that says Repair Request Builder. You click on it, it takes you into where you can select the items in the report. You can select as many or as few as you want. If you want to use our photos in there, you can throw those on there. It gives you a little comment box below each item, so if you want to add in your own verbiage or request language, you can do that. And then it'll
Okay.
create a PDF document that you can add.
I'd like
your
to see that
addendum.
in action.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah,
It'd be neat, yeah. I usually end up sending the whole report anyways.
Yeah, but writing request to remedy can be challenging.
That's
Some things
true.
are very black and white, and some things I feel like that would be
That would
helpful.
be-
While they,
Yeah.
or at least give you a starting point.
Yeah, right.
It's always been opportunity, I've built a lot of relationships with newer agents
Mhm.
because they've like, well, what do I say? What do I ask
Mhm.
for?
Yeah.
That sort of thing. So it's like, well.
That's one of the hardest things to teach agents.
I can imagine.
Because everyone is different, like every
Every
request remedy is
situation,
unique,
yeah.
so it's not like you can just have a cookie
Well,
cutter
it
language.
depends on your buyer and what their
Well, right,
risk
So I had-
tolerance
right.
is.
yeah.
So I got really good at it. My first buyer, we saw this house, we got the inspection. I was dumb enough to say, what do you want? it didn't quantify it for them, so we wrote out 144 request items.
Oh, wow.
144.
Yes,
How many
Exactly.
pages was that?
it was a lot of pages. The deal fell through.
Wow, I would imagine so, yeah.
They're not getting a new house.
Yeah.
At least not that one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, that was very helpful. so-
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us in. We appreciate the
Yeah, thanks
opportunity.
for bringing us food. Sorry we didn't have a bigger group for you. This is a
No, that's
unusually
okay.
small group for a meeting, but,
Let me grab some cards out of my back here.
Sam, did you drive separate from Chris?
Yes.
And can we keep you for like 5 more minutes? Maybe 10? Okay. Okay.
That's okay with you.
There is like this photo that you have to do.
Yeah, I just figured if I could wrap up the meeting, then we can do the photos
Yeah,
instead of.
the Sam's
instead of
Club
stopping
photo.
the meeting.
Oh, yeah.
That is
Oh my God.
happening.
This is my first cup of coffee, guys.
I already got lined up with Sam downstairs.
Right now. No, I didn't bring my work car in person.
Well, I'm sure we have some.
I was gonna say, I didn't bring some back,
I grabbed a stack. I must have left them on my desk, so.
cause,
Chris, what is the price?
Thursday.
I missed, what is the price for a home inspection for a house under 5,000?
Under five, it varies, so we start at 0 to 1,500
Okay.
is 370. And
Okay.
then from there, I think it's like every 500 square feet, it goes up about $40 to $60.
Okay,
So generally, like if it's a 3,000 square feet, you're probably gonna be right around 480,
okay.
you know, something like that.
And how far in advance right now? You said.
Next day right now. Yeah,
Oh, great. Okay.
so it's still kind of the
Early.
early
Not
season,
the
yeah.
busy.
Like last week, I think we did about 70 inspections and we still had like 30% capacity, so we could have fit another 30 in last week.
So what's an average lead time in a peak?
Usually, we try to keep it to 2 to 3 days.
Okay.
That's our goal,
Okay.
because we know timelines can be sensitive and
Sure.
especially as the market gets super competitive again, you
Yeah.
know.
Okay.
10-day inspection windows aren't always plausible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your inspectors, are they grouped? Do you have the same inspectors like they work the PAL area and then, or do they go all over the place depending on where it is?
It really depends. Yeah, we try to keep them close to home when we can,
Okay.
you know, but at the same time, we'll send them wherever we need to.
Yeah.
And with all the services that we do, not every inspector is qualified or licensed to do every single thing. So sometimes that dictates who you get,
Sure.
you know, so, yeah, that type of thing. But like John and we have a guy, he lives in Delaware. So he covers a lot of like Delaware County, Marion, Knox and Morrow, that kind of thing. And we have a couple guys down in like Pickerington and Lancaster, so they end up down there a lot more,
Oh,
you know, kind of thing. So, but then we have several guys in the middle, so they kind of go all over.
And it's just not, as you start to work with the different inspectors, you kind of, it's nice to
Yeah.
know kind of, oh, okay, we're here. I can expect somebody, if I'm selling in the same or buying in the same.
Yeah, and we get a lot of our inspectors get requested too. So,
Okay.
you know, if you have a great experience with one of our folks that you're like, I really like that guy, I really like how he works with my folks. And you can say, hey, I would ask for this guy.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
My past clients have really had a great experience with that.
That's nice.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's nice to know.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure we know them, but.
Oh, that's mine. I didn't even realize it was in here. Thank you.
Well, just
I left it back.
pass.
I know you have a big one too, so.
Yeah, mine's bright red.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I don't know if this is Chris's.
Good. Awesome,
Thanks
I'll
again,
let you
Chris.
carry on. Yeah.
Yeah,
thanks for having
thank
us.
you,
Nice
thank
to
you.
meet you guys.
Nice
Enjoy the rest of your day.
I'll let her go.
See you in a bit.
No worries.
All right, so yeah, just a few more minutes. Other Sam, your other Sam for now.
Yes, I
Um,
thought.
So are you into bike riding at all? Do you any cycling at all?
I like it, like, for fun. I
Okay.
wouldn't say like, I'm gonna go do a
Okay.
triathlon.
Well, so I am in the process of putting together a team from Keller Williams Capital Partners for Pelotonia.
Yeah.
So you probably heard of Pelotonia. So, the next thing I wanted to cover is I've talked to quite a few people here who have shown interest in it. I've kind of given out the sketchy information, not sketchy, that's not bad. The basic,
Preliminary information.
it's accurate information, it's not sketchy, but the preliminary, thank you. So by next week, so basically in lieu of our regular team meeting next week, same time, same place, we will do a Pelotonia info meeting.
Okay.
So by then I'll have a chance to talk to Josh. I want to find out like what kind of company support we can get, whether it's buying jerseys or even like sponsorship. He's been out in Vegas for the conference. Haven't had a chance to talk to him yet. So no regular meeting next week, but if you're interested in Pelotonia at all, even just getting info, we'll do that, in person and by Zoom next Thursday.
I know a question came up with Dawn last week, because I know they usually sponsor, and the question came up, like, what happens if we have more than one lender who wants to
I
sponsor?
gotta talk to Josh about that
So
too.
I almost wonder too, if like, given the relationship with Don, like if Don sponsored, his sponsorship would go to Cap City Group, and if another lender sponsored, it could go to a,
That might
Like,
work.
like a different
Because
group.
That might work.
other loans will probably. do
Yeah,
it.
he was very interested.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that might be a good solution. Like, we don't all have to have exactly the same jerseys. We're gonna have our sponsors on our jerseys.
Like, we can have our team logo
But ours
on it,
could-
but everyone else
Yes.
cannot have the team.
Yeah, and
logo
we can have ours, and Don can sponsor our group,
Yeah.
and then what's his name, Thomas?
Thomas.
Yeah, yeah.
Thomas could sponsor others.
Or the
Yeah, I think that's a
brokerage.
good idea, actually.
And can I, if I'm gonna get more money off the other one, can I move there and not?
This one, I mean, I don't see why you're.
I have no loyalty, it's where the cash flows.
Half one jersey, half the other.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's good.
Frankenstein of
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, no, that's a good
About
workaround.
that, and so I'll do my stitchery.
So I think that would work.
Well, I'm sure like if other teams have team members that want to participate and they have their relationships, like
Mhm.
why not
Yeah.
honor those
Yeah,
relationships?
no, I think that's a great idea. I think we can make that work. So, okay, so yeah, no regularly scheduled meeting next week. We'll do the Pelotonia thing in person and by Zoom.
Okay.
Either one's fine, just like this. Same time, same place, but
Do you want external folks that potentially would ride to join in on this?
yeah. So, obviously I have the link on a piece of paper here. It's not gonna help you, but Sam will send out this by email, so you have the
Yeah.
link, and yes, you can definitely share it with whoever.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
More merrier.
And for you, Sam, I guess another question would be, is this potentially something that Lincoln would be
Yeah,
interested in?
I was gonna say, I feel like, yeah.
Okay. I don't wanna have like a whole bunch of corporate sponsors,
Yeah.
because then our jerseys are basically like a
They're
patchwork.
all,
quilt.
yeah. No.
But yeah, so, we want to line up our corporate sponsors soon, so that we can get jerseys printed and include everyone's logos.
You can do her, Rachel and Dawn, and then your title guy.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him yet, but I know in the past, First American, it's difficult to get much in the way of. It's kind of better to work with like more of the local companies. First American's like a national company, very corporate-y. So I don't know, I can talk to him. I mean, I'd be happy to have him.
You might be going
sponsor.
to with
Right on
Ryan.
the road.
Those were good prices, yeah, those were really good prices.
Yeah.
Get me
So,
go on
okay.
sponsorship, so I went Jerry's, but I'm trying to do like.
Yes.
I have all of them every Monday at
Yes.
Era and
Yeah.
like they
Yeah.
their title.
No, and that's a local company, so yeah, I think that might be the way to go,
.com.
yeah.
They made it as.
Well, that's what I was gonna do, say, you know, I already knew you wanted that.
Well, kind of for the point of reference, so Don has always given me
Okay,
$3,000.
I'm just gonna email you.
to split it apart. So, we're not gonna put someone's logo on our jerseys for.
Oh, I feel like when I'm going through it,
Yeah.
that's usually when,
$3,000.
like, it's always when I'm going through it, that's when, I'm great at questions.
Yeah.
I'll have them.
I feel that.
30 people, yeah.
Like, I don't know what to expect yet.
But I
Let
would
me talk to see what they.
I'll say that today, if you want more information, go on.
Maybe what we
When
can do is we can
I got
come up
hired.
with,
Mhm.
like sponsorship levels, like. a certain
Yeah, I'm
amount
like, I didn't even know what instructions were things.
Lower amount.
I had a
like,
day,
where it might be
let me go on instructions with my
That's not
instructor.
gonna get on jerseys, but.
But
Yeah.
But we can still.
Yeah.
Follow through, like trying to seal it. I'm like,
Okay.
Yeah, well, I
kinda
mean,
think through some of
I-
that
I-
between
I
now and
have
next
one,
Thursday, and
so-
I'll talk to Josh.
Yeah.
I know,
Good
like.
morning.
Hello, hi.
Hi.
Did I tell you 11 or did I tell you?
No, you told me 10.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure, because I have in the past told people 11 and then they showed up at the end of the
No,
meeting.
you told me 10.
I'm sorry.
Right.
So we're finishing up the meeting.
Yeah.
Um,
Cool.
I don't say.
for those of you who haven't met her, this is Andrea. So Andrea is one of our agents that we don't see too often. I'm glad you made it in now. Yes. This is Andrea, this is Sam. She's with Lincoln Inspections, but she's also a future agent.
Cool, love that, man.
This is the new agent Marcia.
Oh, hi, sorry. I'm sorry, yes, I do, and my brain just went on a whole different.
It's because of the 29th.
And you've met Sam before, I'm sure. And have you met Doug and Lori before?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, nice to see you.
Okay. So,
It's been a while, but yes. Yes.
all right, well, Sam, other Sam, I will, get back to you like in the next week and see if we can talk about potential sponsorships or whatever.
My email. too,
Yeah.
That way, I like, I don't think Jerry's in town at the moment, but once he gets back, if I have that info, I can be like, hey.
Okay,
He's usually, especially for things like Peloton and whatnot, he's very athletic dude, so he's
okay,
like
okay,
all about sponsoring that kind of thing.
okay. Well,
So,
you could also join in on our team if you'd like.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I think
yeah.
he would. I think he
So,
would.
but yeah, we just have to figure out, because I've opened this up to the entire company, and like we were talking about, like some individual agents or other teams here maybe have their own
Yeah.
preferred lender, or
Absolutely.
preferred
Mhm.
inspector, whatever, so I think we'll have to make it so
Chris
that
said there's so many of
we'll
us.
be a team, we'll be a Keller Williams Capital Partners team, but with different, like, individual,
Mhm.
like,
Teams
groups
under
within
the
that.
umbrella.
I think that would work.
Heck, yeah, let's do it.
All right, well, you want to go get the picture so you can
Let's
get
do
back?
it.
Yeah, yeah,
So-
let's do.
So Drea, we have to do a couple of us have to do a picture here real quick,
That's not including me, right?
not including you. And I'll tell you why, because your name is not Sam. So
Perfect.
I've been planning this for months. Sam.
I'm excited about this or anything.
And Sam,
Yeah.
all three Sams.
I'm being
Captain
my parents,
Sam's
name
Club.
me Sam.
Yeah, see?
I'm like,
Yeah. Yes. You're the first person to laugh.
My dad.
Funny dad joke.
Yeah.
I on the inside,
In the middle,
yeah.
She barely gave birth.
Yeah.
My dad got.
Eye rolls and grunts, which are also acceptable.
Like, oh, no.
Like a lot of those at home.
Yeah, mom, she
You
didn't
want
have
me to
the
end the
name
meeting?
plan.
Oh, yeah,
I
you
guess,
know.
thanks.
I forgot we're still recording.